Nowadays we have cars, private jets, pools, big mansions, jewelry to show how wealthy we are. But let's take a look at some of the crazier things that we use to display our wealth with. Starting with pineapples. Yes indeed, pineapples. The things that you can buy in a local grocery store for a couple of bucks used to be used as a way to display how much money you actually had. So this was from around 1500 to the year 1800, and it's all thanks to Christopher Columbus. He brought a bunch of pineapples back to the King of Spain, but only one of them survived, and when he presented the fruit to the king, he thought it was so juicy and so exclusive that it instantly became a hit. And then we got into something I can only describe as pineapple mania, because we went crazy for those fruits for about 300 years. One pineapple could be worth upwards of 10,000 pounds. And for a long time we weren't able to grow these pineapples ourselves here in the West, which meant that they kept being exclusive for quite a long time. So exclusive that pineapples were used as a display on parties just to show how much money you had, that you could afford to just put it there. And to make it even more weird, people put pineapples under their arms and started parading with them through the city just to show how much money they had with a pineapple. It's mind-blowing that we could just buy it for $2 in the store right now. Now for quite a while it seemed like the pineapple was here to stay as a status symbol, which meant people started using them as actual badges and symbols, and they even put them on buildings. That's right, on buildings. Now you've probably never noticed it, but you might start noticing them now, that there are actually quite a lot of buildings that have these pineapple references on them. And if you see one, it probably means that that building was constructed somewhere between 15 and 1800, back when the pineapple was at the peak of its power. Now once we learned how to cultivate these bad boys, it was time for the demise of the pineapple. They got a little bit cheaper, which means that the middle class was able to rent pineapples instead of buying them, because they were not able to buy them. And once the lower class got a hold of it, it was absolutely done for. People could buy pineapples by the buttload, and the pineapple mania was over. But there was a 300-year period in our history where we went fucking bananas for pineapples. Wow, that was a great joke. Wow. Now during this whole pineapple mania thing that we had going on, we had another mania, which was the lawn mania. Using your land just to grow grass showed that you weren't using it to grow crops, which means that you were wealthy enough to waste land just to grow grass. Maintaining grass was also a lot of work, especially without the help of animals. You would have to use a scythe to maintain it, so you'd have to pay someone, blah 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 blah. You were rich, we get it. But all of this was destroyed by the evil invention of the lawnmower. All of a sudden everybody could grow grass. Everybody could just cut it. There was nothing special about it anymore, so we needed a new thing to make our lawns a symbol of our wealth. But luckily, with the rise of popularity of these lawns came a very special man, Lancelot Capability Brown. And he was named Capability as his middle name simply because he was so fucking capable of making lawns. All jokes aside, this guy was actually apparently a big deal in the lawn industry, because he pushed for a more naturally aesthetic look of a lawn, where it didn't seem designed by a human but more grown by nature. Which leads us into the next status symbol, because we are messed up as humans. So in these lawns that Lancelot designed, there were natural bridges, streams, and these little houses. And we thought, what if we put actual people in these houses to live there as our personal garden hermits? Now if you're like me, you've never heard of the word hermit, so it basically means a real life garden gnome slash druid slash goblin slash hobbit. But it all comes down to the same thing, where we started paying humans to live in these sheds in our gardens simply because it showed how wealthy we were. And these people were not allowed to leave the garden. They were supposed to live in solitude in the shed. They were not allowed to clip their hair, clip their fingernails, wash, nothing. He was just there to live, be watched, and sometimes be asked for counsel in case you needed counsel of a guy living in your garden. And these garden hermits were paid of good money as well. Like, this was a pretty good job. This is an ad for 1.2 million relative dollars. I mean, compared with inflation and stuff, you know. And I quote, "Shall be provided with a Bible, optical glasses, a mat for his feet, a hassock for his pillow, an hourglass for timepiece, water for his beverage, and food from the house. He must wear a camlet robe, and never, under any circumstances, must he cut his hair, beard, or nails, or stray beyond the limits of Mr. Hamilton's grounds, or exchange one word with the servant." That's some pretty serious stuff. So we had the pineapple mania, the lawn mania, the garden hermit mania, and during all these manias, there was another mania, the sugar mania. Sugar! Now sugar in itself, maybe not as weird of a status symbol, because of course it was very expensive back then, but the resulting thing of these vast amounts of sugar was black teeth. And for some reason, black teeth became a symbol of wealth. Having absolutely to the core rotten teeth was just a sign of how much wealth you had. The most infamous example of this is Queen Elizabeth I of England, who really loved sugar, and we didn't really understand sugar back then, and we didn't have great oral hygiene, so her teeth were getting black quickly. And instead of despising it, we also all wanted these rotten teeth, yay! But the middle class, and the lower class for that matter, couldn't afford sugar. So we started artificially blackening our teeth, just so it would look as if our teeth were rotting because we could afford sugar. We all wanted this royal status symbol. And speaking of another royal status symbol, the entire color purple used to be a symbol of wealth. But this one was special, because we didn't want the commoners to have this color. So some Roman emperors would prohibit their citizens from wearing the color purple, punishable by death. You do not touch your goddamn purple, okay? It's my purple. I'm wealthy, you're not. But the reason it was so exclusive is because it was so insanely hard to make a dye of this color. This color needed to be extracted from a very specific, already quite rare snail. And you didn't need one, you would need to collect about 250,000 to create 1 ounce of purple dye. This was extremely hard to get. It cost more than people would make in an entire year. And this only turned around in around 1850 when we created our first synthetic color. That's right, during all the previous mania, we also had purple mania! Nice! All these manias. I don't know what it is with like the years 17 to 1800, but we had very crazy status symbols. Because purple was so exclusive for such a long time, it's actually the reason why it isn't used in flags for countries, because you would have to mass produce purple, which you simply didn't have. I believe the only 2 countries that formally use the color purple in their flags are Dominica and Nicaragua. And in the flag of Nicaragua you can barely see it, so to me it's actually only Dominica. And even in the Dominican flag, the purple was very sparsely used, only for the parrot, which is displayed on the flag. And it's important to note that these countries only used the color purple after it became normal. They didn't do it when it was super exclusive and cool to do so, so it doesn't count, okay? It doesn't count. And as a complete bonus fact, did you know that according to the YouTube algorithm, this is the video you should watch? So you should definitely watch this video. Oh, I don't need to move my head in front of it. Oh, there we go. Good video.